If you drive on gig economy apps, specifically Uber Eats, if you drive for 8 hours, how much can you make in a complete shift? Well, in this video, I bring on my brother Matt here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're gonna go over that shift together and some actual order specifics and some strategies. And at the end of the video, show you exactly how much he made. So he recently drove for 8 hours on Uber Eats specifically, really just on Uber Eats here. Do you remember, was it on a weekday? Was it on a weekend? And I guess, is this typical? Do you typically drive for 8 hours, certain days? Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So this was on the weekend on a Saturday. Now, typically every other week, I have a weekend free because of my fiance's schedule to drive as much as I want. So on this particular Saturday, this last Saturday, I was out for about 8 hours.
Awesome. So what we'll do is we'll check out each order here and get your thoughts on it here. So let's check out order number one. So here's order number one. It was $8.55 for 4.9 miles for Dunkin'. What's your typical strategy behind this one?
Right. So typically you want to first look at the time of day. So obviously around lunch hour and dinner rush, you're going to have more choices. However, if you're just starting your morning and it's 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. and you're not quite sure, am I going to have a lot of choices? This is a solid ride to take. It is $7, $8, $9, and the mileage is fairly low. So a really good way to start the day.
Well, I'll agree. I mean, it's Dunkin'. I mean, it's in a busy zone. You know, you like to start and really stay in busy zones here. And you talked about minimum payout threshold. You know, minimally, what I want you to look for is $7, $8 orders if you can. And then also looking at the miles. And then ultimately what you look at is, you know, how much time it takes to complete it. All right, so this next one, you actually declined this one. Let's check this one out. So this one, it was $8.56, as we can see here. So let's check it out. It was Starbucks. I think I know why. So again, it's $8.56. It's for Starbucks. It's 6.8 miles. Why did you decline this one but accept the other one?
So this is a really strange request. And actually, the reason I declined it might be surprising to you and you guys watching right now. I did not decline this ride. I had full intention of accepting
Really?
this ride. I had full intention of accepting this ride. Now, listen to this. We talked on this channel about the Postmates and Uber merger. Are we seeing more glitches? Are we seeing more issues? And we're going to go all into that. But on this particular ride, I was shocked. I was about to click accept. I was recording it for the live stream, and then poof, it just disappeared.
Really? So there was a glitch. So you were screen recording for the video, which shouldn't affect the app here. Did you try to click on it, or did it just disappear?
So usually if you're watching this video, usually you have a time to accept the ride. You'll see a little green bar and it'll go down, and that is your notification of how much time you have to accept the ride. I just received this request, okay? And usually you have a good while to accept it. And yes, I was about to click accept. I did not accidentally hit the X to decline. I was really excited because, again, a solid number, a relatively short mile to drive. Unbelievable. I was shocked and I was really disappointed.
Interesting. Well, let us know down below in the comments if you had glitches. And actually, I did mention the blackout screen glitch recently as well that we've seen. Well, that's interesting. Let's check out the next order request. Okay, so this one here, it's Dagu rice noodles. It's $8.94. I mean, this seems kind of like a no-brainer. And you can see, if you're not familiar with Uber Eats, where Matt is right now with that blue arrow icon. And then the home icon is, of course, the pickup location. So I'm guessing that's why you accept this. This one is just kind of a no-brainer for you.
Yeah, again, just a solid ride. No real complicated decisions here.
Right. All right. I'm thinking hopefully we'll see that pattern in the shift here. Let's check out the next order. Now, this is very interesting. This is a lower payout. I'll let you explain this one. But we just mentioned earlier, you know, we want you to accept orders that are minimum $7, $8. This is 550. What is your strategy behind this Chipotle pickup?
So I want you guys to comment about this because I was driving this shift on Uber Eats. I was imagining if you're watching this video and you're considering starting to drive, or if you're wondering what is going to change after this whole Postmates and Uber merger. I want to know your thoughts because I'm seeing a lot more smaller orders, and I've heard from you guys in the comments
Interesting.
section. I've seen your comments. Okay. I read comments, and a lot of you kind of echo this. So it was a slow day, but again, I did Uber Eats because I wanted to imagine myself as maybe I'm only approved with one app, and I wanted to
Right.
see how that performed for an 8-hour shift in our market of Pittsburgh. So I took it because it was relatively slow and it was a short drive. So I went ahead and just accepted it.
So, we want to take those minimum orders, but I mean, based on your marketplace, were there any bonuses? Were there any Quest or Boost Pay on this? Do you remember?
So a good thing, a good way to prepare, click on that promotions tab. It'll tell you
Right.
by hour what promotions and Boost. So remember, Boost is that blue outline of the map, and then a surge will be a dollar amount color coded bonus, if you will, on the map. So most of the day had some type of promotion, whether it was Boost or surge or both. But all in all, the demand was pretty low.
Good points there, especially if you're just driving on, let's say, Uber Eats, Postmates, DoorDash, just one app. I mean, that's really why I always advocate, signing up for as many apps as you can. Cool. Let's check out the next order. Well, I'm liking that one, $13.31. Now, this is important. Maybe you could advise a viewer on this. Is it says delivery to. So if you didn't know, if you're watching this is a stacked order. It's 2 assignments for 1 driver. What is your strategy? What is your threshold? I mean, 13 for 2 deliveries. What do you consider here? It's 3.7 miles. What do you consider when you look at something like this?
So imagine you're deciding, should I take this order or should I take any order? Here's what you should consider, or at least what we recommend. Look at the mileage and then how much you're getting paid to drive that many miles. Well, it makes sense for this order. I'm not driving very far to get nearly $14. And remember, that's the estimated tip. So if you provide great customer service,
Exactly.
you follow the instructions that the customer might put on their delivery request, you might make way more. However, I just decided to take this one again. It was a solid order. Or you can think of it this way: I'm getting paid $14, and then look at how long it's going to take you. So if a ride is going to take me 10 minutes and it pays me $10, well, that's a great dollar amount for that amount of time. And I can estimate, well, based on that, how much am I going to make per hour? And you can have an hourly goal. So it's mileage or hour, whatever you want to do, but there's multiple ways to do it.
That's fantastic. Let me rewind that just so you guys can really hear those PowerPoints. Yes, it pays, let's say 13, or Matt using an example of $10, but it's super short. So you can maybe fit more orders in that hour. You can get, $20, $30 an hour. And or this is a stacked order. Yes, it includes expected tips, but on Uber Eats specifically, a lot of these customers are tipping after the fact, after that delivery. So yes, it's, including $13. And again, let's go back and check it out here. $13.31, but maybe you're a customer that, only tips half of their amount ahead of time. We don't know, right? Maybe you might get even more tips after the fact. I like that. Let's check out the next order. So I feel like, getting into the groove here as far as a minimum payout threshold, and then talk to me about staying in busy areas. We haven't really mentioned that in this video. $7.19. What is enabling you to, is it just staying in the busy areas? What's enabling you to get these orders? Again, $7.19 for 2.3 miles and on no bonuses. Can you help us out on that one?
Right. Well, luckily, the bonuses, I believe, from what I remember, they picked up later in the shift. But here's what you do not see. So here's what you're not going to see in this video are the rides that I declined, all of the rides that I declined. So the way you stay in those power strips or those strip of roads with many restaurants, which by the way are typically by colleges, by hotels. That's a little tip for you. That's the busy areas. I declined rides that take me out of that zone. So yes, you see $7 here, $8 there, and it adds up, but you don't want to waste your time. Again, going back to that, how much am I getting paid for the mileage? You don't want to drive 20 miles away because then you have to go all the way back to be around any restaurants because you might end up in a neighborhood. So just keep that in mind. That's how you really maximize your dollars on the road. So it definitely varies from marketplace to marketplace. So if you guys have the demand to be a little more choosy and you can take shorter rides because you're going to get consistency, then go for it. But I don't want you to overthink it. If it's a $12 order and you're just a little bit outside that zone, that's perfectly fine. There's no hard set rule that says, well, you have to stay within a 5-mile radius of where you started. So again, look at the amount you're getting paid for the mileage and then how much time that trip is going to take you. And then you decide based on our strategies that we recommend, well, is this really worth my time? That's what you want to think about.
That's powerful. And there's a lot to consider. It's, the miles. It's, again, like you mentioned, the time it takes to complete. It's okay. It's pulling me slightly outside of my typical busy zone, but that might be okay. It's only 4 or 5 minutes away. And I kind of know that other zone. I can still get orders there. That's very powerful.
Absolutely.
So let's check out the next order. Now this one's interesting. This is $15.25. So I like the split payout because you can see here it's delivery 2, which is a stacked order here. So it's 5 guys. It's 1 restaurant. We can see here. It's going a little bit further away. Now, here's a great tie-in. This one is driving further away from your typical zone in central Pittsburgh. So do you remember this order? What was your thinking here as far as going a little bit further away?
So it's a perfect transition from what we just last said about you don't want to be overly picky because I was only a few minutes outside where I knew was a really popular zone, just a little bit north of where I ended this ride. So again, if the dollars make sense, take the dollars because you don't want to skip a $12 order just to get a $15 order, but it takes you way far away. So just remember, you don't want to overthink it. These are strategies. You want to target zone. So if you're near that target zone, perfectly fine. You can jump right back into that busy spot and start collecting those requests.
I like that one because, you can't get too picky with the orders. You may want to take some fringe orders like this one. Again, simply for the cash flow for $15. And I know, yes, it's a little bit further away, but I know I can hop over to another zone or I can discover hopefully another busy zone. Because that's pretty good cash flow, $15. I think you're absolutely right there.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add real quick, that area that I ended right near where that bridge is are a whole line of restaurants. So I knew on my way back to where I traditionally sit, I might very likely get some rides. So again, it kind of made sense. I knew where I was going to end wasn't completely distant from restaurants. I was close enough.
I like it. Well, let's check out 2 more orders here, and then I do want to show you Matt's complete earnings breakdown. So this one, this is an interesting one because it's $9.47. It's pretty good, but it is a stacked order. Now it is from the same restaurant, which is easy. Why would you take this one? Is it strictly the miles? Is it the time? I like the cash flow. Again, it's close to $10. Frankly, if you can get close to $10 payouts, you're doing pretty good here. What's your thoughts on this one as you're kind of ending the evening and getting later in the evening here?
Absolutely. So again, I really wanted to drive as if maybe I was an Uber Eats driver or I'm just getting started. I'm only approved on 1 app. So this gives you an idea of, okay, here's how much I'm going to make in 8 hours on Uber Eats. Now, the next step after this would be to get approved on other apps and then try an 8-hour shift on that app to see how it fares, maybe on another Saturday. Right. So I took this, and as we'll see, so stick around for the earnings part, but we'll see this was a pretty solid order for what I was getting throughout the 8 hours. And then you'll see how much I made per hour. And this one lined up with basically that average earnings that I was expecting on this given day.
Exactly. I think that's kind of like pattern recognition. It's knowing your marketplace. So well, hey, based on my here in Pittsburgh, for my specific marketplace, for driving on, well, you said that, the boost pay was slowly increasing during the night, but you can kind of have a barometer to say, well, if boost is at 1.3, 1.4, I know $9.47 for 3.6 miles. And you can see it's pretty clustered together. That's a no-brainer. And you know that, again, through your experience. I think that's a good point. So speaking of moving towards the end of the evening here, let's now go into night mode on your phone here. Check out one more order, and then I do want to show you Matt's earnings here. Well, what a way to finish. $21.65 on this stacked order for People's Indian Restaurant. Let's check this one out here. We can see your blue arrow icon indicating your current location, and it's headed south. That's the direction I know you want to head back home to. I think this is a pretty stellar order. Do you have anything else to add on this one?
No, again, you kind of summarized it really well, but the whole point is, as you get closer and closer, as I was driving that 8-hour shift, and by the way, I was watching the polls. I loved you guys voting on what we should do next. So again, this is an 8-hour shift for you guys. That's what you voted on. So as you go down those 8 hours and you get closer and closer to that dinner time, which by the way, my night ended maybe around 7 o'clock, but that dinner rush, right, especially on a Saturday, can go well into 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. It really depends on your market. So, keep an eye out for that. But yeah, this one for me, as I was ending my night, perfect shift for me.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's a great way to finish it. If you're getting a $20+ payout on this one, as we can see here, 21, headed south or headed, if you're watching this, generally in the direction you want to head home anyway. Okay, so I did want to show you Matt's earnings for this shift. And again, there's going to be some kind of surprising takeaways here. So let's go over the numbers and bring Matt on to discuss here. The shift was from 10:15 a.m. until 6:15 p.m., around 7, maybe a little bit later there. Total gross revenue, $135.17. That's a gross revenue per hour, a little bit under $17. We're going to talk about that. I don't think that tells the entire story here. The deliveries completed in total, 13. Matt, great customer service, received 12 tips on that, and really received higher than average tips, $5.79. Let me know down below in the comments, what do you typically get as far as tips from a customer? Statistically, I see anywhere from, let's say, $3 maybe to $4.25. So Matt did well there. Business miles at 54.2, keeping those miles tight. He does a great job of that here in Pittsburgh. $2.49. So let's bring on Matt here, really to talk about the efficiency when driving, because he received great tips. And speaking of a metric that tells you efficiency when driving, it's your payout per mile. So $2.49 per mile. So let's talk about this. I mean, is this something where, we saw your early shift. We saw this was from 10:15 a.m. really in the kind of early afternoon, what have you, when you started. Was it slower in the morning? Do you account this to maybe the boost or no bonus pay at the beginning of the shift? Because we saw some boost pay later in the shift. Talk to me a little bit about overall, how do you feel about the numbers as far as this 8-hour shift?
Yeah, so it is a little surprising, but here's the side of it that you might not right away notice from the numbers. It was a little unusual that there was a little to no boost or no surge, especially on a Saturday when people are usually ordering a lot of breakfast food and things like that, even at 10 a.m. Sometimes even earlier is more busy. If you go later in the day, so I did end here around 6:15, 6:30. If you go even later, you'll start seeing, as you saw on my last order, a $20 stacked order. Those dinner rush times will really carry your earnings. But yeah, overall, it was a little lower than I was expecting. But again, it's just how that particular day went. Let's say that there's so many factors: the weather, how many drivers are out, if students are home for break. So it really depends. But on this day, I think it was really just I wasn't getting a lot of requests, and that could be for whatever reason. And we could do an exact same Saturday 8-hour shift next week, and it could be 25 an hour. But
Exactly.
this gives you a good range on this particular day. And again, it could fluctuate big time. So it just is what it is.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, like you mentioned, I mean, I could drive on a certain day at a certain time, different times of the year. Do you have certain events, like you said, students coming back? We're here in Pittsburgh, a lot of universities. Are there bonus pays? Did you have further orders? I mean, the list goes on and on. I will say, you know, if you're driving on these apps, it could be Uber Eats, really any app, and there is no bonus pay. I mean, frankly, I think Matt did pretty good if you're driving without bonus pay. So again, let's say maybe half the night, I'm not sure, you know, brought in some of that bonus pay. But, you know, to do $17 an hour, but more, I think importantly, again, the metric that really tells you the efficiency, his payout per mile at $2.50. I think that really tells a little bit more of the actual background here of the story. So I appreciate you being here. Any other, I guess, thoughts of just driving for one app? Because again, you did all 8 hours on Uber Eats here.
Right. Well, just driving on one app is good if you're just getting started. It's good if you're new to the app. So if you're new to Uber Eats or you sign up for another app and you want to see how your marketplace performs, it's best, I think, as we recommend on this channel, to drive multi-apping, that is using 2 apps at the same time and choosing whatever delivery request is the highest or the smartest to choose. But there's no wrong way to do it. Driving one app, if you're just getting started, get out and do it. Go ahead and sign up, get started, start making money. And we really appreciate you guys watching.
Well, we do appreciate you being here. And if you would like to get access to exclusive content, videos, and community tab posts, as well as, like Matt has, exclusive badges and custom emotes just for you, consider joining the Driver VIP team by clicking the join button linked down below. You get access to all of that and more. And I'm also going to leave a video linked right here, a new video or a video recommended for you. I do appreciate you watching. Consider joining the team if you haven't joined already. We'll see you in the next one.